Alright, Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah, sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een, bi rahmatika arhamar rahimin. So inshallah, we begin today with very, very small talk I have on my hands at the moment. I actually wanted to speak about something particularly what's happening around the world. I know there's a lot of people who've asked me that what do I think about the current situation around the world, and I know many people have actually come across to actually ask me what do I really think about this situation. So look, I want to say I actually want to start first of all, I really want to start to talk about what's happening particularly in that region, and we are talking about Afghanistan at the moment, and we're not and what's really been happening over there. There's a lot of worry amongst the Muslims that live overseas, and particularly that actually live in this region in the West, and so they've been worrying about their family members, and there's a lot that we need to look into today. So my talks are very, very short, inshallah. I'm going to be only focused to speak about half an hour. I'm only going to give my views here and there, and again, it's my views, and I want to start with a disclaimer. I do not endorse any government. I do not endorse the Taliban as a favorable government. I'm only going to speak the truth, and whatever I say, if it's true, it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If anything that I've said and offends the religion, then it's my mistake, and I am a human being, and I take complete responsibility of that. First of all, I actually want to go into few people. I actually want to talk about gravitas. First of all, I actually want to talk about the propaganda of the Western media. Particularly in our region, we've got the special media giants, and they are, mashallah, you name it, the Indian media giants. I mean, with all due respect to my Indian followers, I really want to tell you, I mean, sometimes there's some assaults that the Indian media does, and particularly anti-Pakistani rhetoric, and we have to take the blame pretty much for everything that's happening around the world, and it's Pakistan who's responsible. There's no way any other party would have come, and Pakistan has to take the full blame of it. And Pakistan are terrorists, Pakistan are this, Pakistan are that. And it's interesting how our Indian people from around the world, sorry, not around the world, particularly the ones who live on the other side, they are always jumping up and down. Now, I actually want to talk about the two media channels particularly. And those media channels are actually well known by you guys. You probably heard a lot from on the media about these channels. So these are the two channels particularly I actually want to speak about. The first of them is the Republic World, or in other words, is also known as the Republican India Indian channel. It's the Republic TV, and they're really high at the moment on the news, and they're sending a lot of news, particularly from the Panjshir region. And there's a guy called Amrullah Saleh, the man who's the caretaking president of his own house at the moment, because if he hasn't realized, Taliban's actually declared the government of the entire the region of Afghanistan. But then you've got this guy called Amrullah Saleh, who believes that from his bedroom he's going to take over the entire world, and he you know, he's actually throwing out a lot of garbage without any information, and he bashes Pakistan, and he calls them a terrorist state, and he calls them the helpers of Taliban, and he calls them the puppets, and you know, you name it. There's a lot of names that he gives to Pakistan. He also says that Pakistan's allowed the Taliban to enter, and they're behind this. America needs to see it, America needs to sanction it, and you name it. Amrullah Saleh, if you're listening, you know, you need to acknowledge there's a government over there in your country, and you need to come out of, get off your high horse, and you know, step down and agree to that government. Hopefully you might get something for yourself, and you might become a minister or two in order to run your own affairs. Now, this channel is speaking about Northern Alliance, how they're having a conflict with the Taliban, the government, and also he says how they've defeated them, and Taliban's really badly, brutally defeated by the Northern Alliance, and they've got no chance over there, which we don't know if it's a ground reality or not. I actually want to talk about particularly a clown that works for this TV channel. His name is Arnab Goswami. Arnab actually in Arabic means a rabbit. So he is like a rabbit, to be honest. I mean, he jumps and rolls up and down, and he's doing a lot of rabbit dances, and he ducks into his little hole when he's got nowhere to go. And so really, I mean, this Arnab, this rabbit on the TV channel, does not have any integrity whatsoever. He just shouts and screams, and I would you know, recommend you guys to have a feel of this rabbit if you probably get to see him. He's on this Republic TV. So he's asking a question for one of the ministers in Pakistan. I mean, it's a recent show. He's asking a question, and he says to him, say, is Osama a terrorist? And the man wants to give his narrative, his point of view, and then he's like, say, and he just acts crazy, and he's like, you don't have an answer, you're a terrorist state, and blah blah blah. I want to ask you, rabbit, well, you know, it's the other way, either way, because if you speak Arabic, your parents should have known they're naming you rabbit. I mean, I'm not even ridiculing you, I'm actually only calling you what your name really means. So Mr. Rabbit Goswami, what I would like to ask you, and this is not my way to talk to people, but Mr. Rabbit, I really want to ask you one thing. Before you call anyone a terrorist or a terrorist state, I want to ask you about RSS, something that comes from your own faith, which is reported by your own media, by your own people. What do you call RSS when they brutally murder the Muslim population and they lynch the Muslim people in India who have been living there for centuries? For even before some of you were even born in that country. I mean, their forefathers have been living there for such a long time. What do you call that? Is RSS a terrorist? I mean, you always like to ask yes or no questions. I've got a yes or no question for you. Is RSS a terrorist? If it is, which you do, which you probably, I don't know if you say yes or no. If you do, then is your Prime Minister a terrorist? Because he's endorsed to this RSS organization. That's my question to you, Mr. Rabbit. So if you are listening, I mean, that's my question to you. Now, my second person for tonight that I would like to talk to is from Gravitas Plus, and this is a very, very famous channel. I don't know if you guys know this channel. It's called Wyon WION stands for the world is one news. Okay, the world is one news. And the one of the lead, one of the presenters on the TV, really don't want to be rude, but with a very bad accent, Miss Palki Sharma. Really, I know you're probably a journalist or you're graduate in journalism. You know what? I'll tell you one thing, Miss Palki Sharma, for you. I want to tell you, you are really misinformed. You're creating a lot of faction in the society. You're only making people enemy towards other people, even without knowing their reality. She recently did a show that was on the 29th of August on her channel called the Sharia law. The Sharia law. I mean, that law which probably freaks people out. I mean, if you said you probably just scare people with Sharia. And she gives a very, she gives a definition of Sharia. She speaks about the Hanafi madhab. That's what she said, Hanafi, okay? Well, the funny thing is, Miss Palki, you live in India. Mostly the Indians follow Hanafi madhab. And they are the ones who actually are, the followers of that. And you probably said the other madhabs right, but you offended your own population by calling it Hanafi. So, that's not the real argument. The argument is your uninformed Sharia law definition and your propagation of a government who's not even come in power. They haven't even sat a day into power. They haven't even dictated their laws yet. And you call them barbaric. And this is so funny. I mean, Miss Palki Sharma, I'd like to ask you, how many times have you called out your own Prime Minister for his hypocrisy? How many times have you done that? Probably not even done that. You don't even know because you're too blind to see in your own problems. You people will only incite more hatred into the eyes of other people by showing these images and making people more concerned and propagating more hatred. I mean, that's just two media channels. And then you've got the Stooges, the Sky News, no matter where you go, the Sky News UK or the Sky News Australia. You've got these Stooges, the monkeys, they jump up and down on Sky News and they propagate this they really propagate these hatred, and they call out people for what they are. They call out people for what they're not even doing. Now, as I said, the disclaimer I put out there, and I really mean it, I'm not saying I'm a follower of any particular group and I'm not endorsing anyone. I'm a person who likes to be neutral. I'm a person who wants to know, the reality, and I'm a person who would like to see the people from their own lens as well. Yeah, how can I help you? Yeah, do it then. All right. So, sorry about that. I also work under a government, as you can see, and I have to be answerable to the ministers. I just had a minister from my family, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, my daughter. As you know, I'm just a media reporter in my family, and I report. So the Minister of Foreign Affairs was here to tell me that you're talking too much. So basically, I actually wanted to speak about the Stooges on Sky News and everyone else. I mean, the funny thing is, I don't remember. Let me just do a quick search on internet. I'm actually forgetting. There is this Australian Afghan reporter. I don't know what her name is. If anyone's listening, if you know her name, please type it in. I'll be Yalda Hakim. That's it. Yalda Hakim goes to the frontliners in Afghanistan war, and she brings in a great news. You know, and she goes to BBC, and she goes out there to tell us how bad they are, and she says, you know what, they cannot be trusted. They're the ones who have backstabbed us before. Well, Yalda Hakim, let me tell you one thing. You are the one who is calling out their own people. You're the one who is inciting more fear about your own people, and you forget the hypocrisy of people that came and they ruled over your country. And they are the ones who brutally murdered people all around the world, all around in your country, in the name of war on terror. You know what? When they went, the funny thing is, I actually want to tell you this. Joe Biden in 2014 said this. Joe Biden says that he will chase Islamic State to the gates of hell. So basically, did you know that the similar thing was said by so many other presidents as well? Same wording. Bush said that in the 90s after the 9/11, we'll chase them to the gates of hell. And it's not a new thing. I mean, it's always out there. This is something that they have always done, and they will always do that. And it's only to gain that to gain that support from people. Now, for Yalda Hakim, I actually want to give you something. You know, you really trust other people to take control of your country and to really rule your country the way you like. Don't forget, it was these people, it was the Americans who vowed to come to your country, and they vowed to bring peace and justice. I ask you, Yalda Hakim, where is that peace? I ask you, where is that justice? I ask you, how many people died in your country, Afghanistan, in the name of war on terror? I ask you, how many people lost their lives? And today, after 20 years, so-called started war by 4 American presidents that were there in that time, how much peace have you acquired? What peace have they given you? That's my question. I mean, that's my question to all the stooges who are jumping up and down, and they're calling out, and they're calling out all these Western medias and the likes of it. Just give me 1 second. Yes. So basically, that's my question. And now, I want to give you my take on what's really happened in Afghanistan now. So if you look at the American the Americans, I want to actually give them a message, my message. The Americans, I want to give you a message, and my message to you is, you should bite on things that you can chew. That's my simple message to you. You went to Vietnam, and you know what happened. You went to Afghanistan, and you know what happened. So, America, it's an advice. It's not really, and wherever you went, I mean, ask yourself, how much peace have you brought? You know, when America, it was said, and this is they said that they will be taking, and they will bomb these people to the Stone Age. You know, the so-called people, Taliban, were in the power. They said, we will chase you, and we will chase you, and we'll bomb you to the Stone Age. Now, as a lot of conspiracy, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. There is a theory for my viewers to actually really look into it. The theory is, what happened to Building 7 on the day of 9/11? I mean, that's just a question. I personally don't know. They said there was no bomb, nothing. And did you know what? These people, the Taliban, these Afghans, this nation, Afghanistan, that was swiftly trialed by media. It's not even trialed by a Supreme Court or any world court or justice or anything. It was trialed by media. Media had a very swift trial, and they were out there to bring the peace back in the world. And US went in there. How many human rights violations have we done? We looked at Australian military humiliating the people, the civilians, killing the civilians, chasing down the civilians. You saw on the news, that was just 6 months ago. It was a big hype of the guy, the soldier, that so-called savior who wanted to bring peace, was out there really chasing and killing and the violations of human rights. Now, the agenda has always been for the West, and I mean it. It's always been democracy, liberalism, secularism, and to gain the resources wherever they went. I mean, you really look at the government. I mean, the government that they put out there was stooges. You look at the president, with all due respect to my Afghan friends who are listening, I really want to tell you, I mean, what kind of a president is that who runs away and he gives a speech? I only came over here so I don't want any bloodshed. Did you know what, Mr. Ghani, if you forgot that the Taliban put a statement out there, which they have acted so far, that there will be no لا تثريب عليكم اليوم. There'll be no revenge on today. And we're not going to be going on vengeance and going out. It's amnesty for everyone. We're not going to be coming out for you. That's what they said. And one thing the West, particularly America, forgot, that Afghanistan is the graveyard of empires. And I really mean it. Afghanistan is the graveyard of empires. Do you know what? They annihilated the British. You know what they used to say about the British? British were the people who actually owned the entire world, where the land rose on their land, or the sun rose on their land, and also set in their land. Like, pretty much what they were trying to say, in their lands the sun never set, meaning wherever you went, the sun would rise. British was there. They were the ones who were not able to conquer Afghanistan, and it's in front of before the 1867 war. If you look back, I mean, they started going insurgencies in Afghanistan, in Kabul, which they were not able to really acquire. And guess what happened afterwards? I mean, we don't even have to go far away. The Soviet Union. You know what happened to the Soviet Union? Some of the children, if you're listening, you probably won't even know who Soviet Union is. It was the entire empire of Russia. And they were annihilated by this particular people. They annihilated them. And out of it came the lands today, the Uzbekistan, the Tajikistan, the Turkmenistan, and all these other places that came out. Also, and the news was out there, what did we die for? And I recently read it. It's like it's saying, yeah, where is it? Can I do that? Which one is it? I'm in the middle of the speech at the...
Not these ones. You have to go.
Sorry about this. There's a little break. If you've got a question, you can actually type it, because I have to listen to the foreign minister.
What are you doing? Papa, what are you doing?
I'm actually printing a picture for her.
Are you on a video?
I am.
Why are you on a video?
Because I'm actually doing a little speech at the moment. Guys, you really interrupted me. I was nearly about to finish. Seriously.
Well, make your video like 1 hour. One hour and 30 minutes.
Well, there's an old friend of mine who actually writes in Urdu. He says, you know, make it a bit in the middle. That's what he is really trying to say. And I say my salams to him. I really miss him. I want to give him a message in Urdu. कि मुनासिब हो नहीं सकता मेरे दोस्त. So really, I'm only going to speak the truth. so you know. Guys, I'm in this meeting. Seriously, you guys have to.
Remember you read story to us?
I do know that. I do know that.
Well, why did you not read it Wednesday?
Okay, yeah, can you go to mummy and she can print it from there, please? I'm nearly finished. I only need 10 minutes. Can you go out, please? Or you can sit at the back. Make sure the door's closed. All right. Now, sorry about this, guys. I've completely lost the track what I was speaking about. Anyways, I was hoping you guys probably typed some questions. And no one's typed a question yet. Anyways, all right. What I was saying, now I want to tell you, I mean, what I was saying, and you know, the West is asking the question. I mean, Joe Biden and everyone, Boris Johnson, I've got to really, I mean it. If you really want to, people used to make fun of Donald Trump. I thought Donald Trump had some sort of substance. We've got a clown of a prime minister, with all due respect, Mr. Morrison. I mean, you're always missing in action. So, but really, well, what we want to say is, I got a question there. Yeah, look, it's a very good point you mentioned. I mean, it's always the case. It's the media. We live in a time where media runs a swift trial. So the question was, why is the West sympathetic with the Afghan refugees, but in general have turned their eyes from Muslims and strive across the world over the years? Why? Because, you know, it's a very simple answer. It's the agenda that they want to promote, the barbarians who have come in power and they will kill the people. And these barbarians, if we leave the people over there, these people are going to die, and they're the ones who supported us. And again, we don't know the ground reality. We're not here to support anyone, but what we're saying is we need to be looking at these things in a very fair way. Now, these people have come in power. All right, give them their chance. I mean, let them run the government. They haven't even come in power. You need to give them some sort of time where they can actually run the government, and then they can prove themselves. Now, the West is asking questions. I mean, they're saying thousands of people died. I mean, for what? Thousands of soldiers, you killed them. You led them so you could run away. In the darkness of the night, you could run away as if you were so scared of some ghost that you had seen. Like, really, it was if you really look at that, I mean, they probably had seen a ghost and they ran away. So why is that? No Islamic nations help out in these circumstances, and how do you change the Islamic opinion of Taliban given their extremism is so is so well extreme? Okay, no, you've got a very good question. Look, Zuhair, you're saying yes, they were not initially when they did come in power. They had some really different sort of understanding, and they brought that. Now we don't know what they're coming with. Yes, they were very extreme with the views towards the women. So yes, they were. They had those sort of tendencies. They had some of that, but understand the Islamic nations, mashallah, we are only gonna go where the power is, because we're so scared we can't even stand up for ourselves. And I'll tell you why. Today in my talk I'll give you the answers why Muslim nations really do not talk in these circumstances. So what's the real reason? And this is what I believe the real reasons are. Now, US, with all due respect, you exploited a population of such a huge population of these Afghans, and then you've got so much happening around the world, and then everyone always blames the scapegoat, Pakistan, and they always want to come out and they want to call us. I mean, I'm not saying that Pakistan's the greatest of the nations in the world and Khilafah is going to come from there. Everyone's got their drawbacks. I mean, we're all trying to do things for the people. And when people are making mistakes, I think most of the world is realizing that we have to stand up for Islam, and we have to please. The methods are ruthless, irrational. Do you think the Taliban's intentions are still within the Islamic guidance? Okay, what you asking some heavy questions there, Rayan. The methods, we haven't even seen the methods. You're only speaking about what the stooges are telling us on the news. They haven't even done a day of the rule in there. They've only taken control of the city, of the capital, and they're yet to make rules and everything. I want to give you something, okay? I want to give you something before we even go to what my answer is, okay? Now, the funny thing is, I want to give you this funny thing, okay? We love the West, okay? France, mashallah, one of the greatest leaders on the world. His name, can't even say his name right. I mean, I'm probably gonna try Emmanuel Macron. Or in Arabic you could call makruh, something that's disliked. Okay, so he mashallah is delivering a lot of efforts in order to bring justice to the world, and recently he said the girls are not allowed to wear head covering, women are not allowed to do this, imams are not allowed to speak in Arabic, and blah blah blah. And mashallah, the West does not say anything. Oh, Macron's so great, he's doing such a great job, and he's taking the clothes off the women, and mashallah, all the women should be naked. They should be running around naked. I mean, this is what he does, and that's it's the Republican or Republic of France, and there'll be their rules, and we're not going to be giving precedence to any religious beliefs, and we're not just after the Muslims, we're after the entire nations. And they're also telling that they will close down the mosques, and they threaten one particular religion every day. Alhamdulillah. So they threaten one particular religion. No one says anything. When was the last time you saw Sky News speaking about the Muslim women who actually wanted to wear the head covering? When was the last time you heard Arnab, the rabbit, speaking about the women in France? When was the last time, I mean, the World of One News, the Gravitas, Mrs. Palki Sharma, speaking about, the women who actually want to follow that path in France? And also, when was the last time? We never heard it. I haven't heard a news like that. I'm yet to hear that. I'm not saying that, people who apply force. You need to understand, France is following a law, and they're bringing that law hard and fast. At the moment, the government of Afghanistan also has some laws in there. And when you ask the guy Shamim, the spokesperson, he clearly said there's Islamic law and we want to impose it. We allow the women, everyone. It's documented. You can actually see it. He's been talking about that, and they will be allowed power in the government. They can go, they can do this, they can do that. Everything was said. Yes, they understand there will be restrictions for the ones when they come in the. It's like Saudi Arabia. They've got the money. They had the laws where women should be in covering when they're in the street and blah blah blah. But now one government and they come in power, and they want to bring their laws, and the whole world's now standing up for the rights of the women. What happened to the rights of the women in France? I mean, that's my question to everyone. What happened to their rights over there? That's a Western country. I had no stooge jumping up and down for their rights over there. And what happened to the things over there? So really, it's just the media how it works. And finally, I want to give you something about this nation of Afghanistan. I want to take you back. You know, the Pakistanis and the Afghans in the region and everyone, they jump up and down for the hadith of Ghazwa Hind. You know, the Ghazwa is going to happen, this and that, this and that. They always say, let me tell you, that Ghazwa already happened. Okay, why is that? Because Hind will be opened. That was by Mahmud Subaktakin al-Ghaznawi. So Subaktarin al-Ghaznawi was the guy in the 360 after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was the first leader that liberated the entire Indus Valley. What you see today, Afghanistan, what you see today, Pakistan, what you see today, India, till the valleys of Himalayas. And that's how far he went. And he was a leader. If you probably know the story of Somnath, the biggest idol they had in the Indus, close to Pakistan, he said, he demolished the idol. They said, we're going to give you millions. Leave this idol. There's thousands of people would gather. He said no. He demolished the idol, and when he demolished, under there was treasure, and what he found was even more than the millions. So he was the one who brought the law of Allah, the Tawheed of Allah. And that was a guy, you probably heard about the Battle of Panipat. You know how the West likes to portray it. You know what's the real image of that? When the Marathas came to fight, you know who wrote the letter to the Afghan king? It was Shah Waliullah ad-Dahlawi. He actually wrote it to the leader, the Afghan leader. He asked, Shah Waliullah wrote to Ahmad Shah Abdali, and he told him, please send help. And at that time, the help came. And he came, and he humiliated defeat to the Marathas, and they were not able to get up for a long time. And that was a guy who came to rescue. Whenever the Muslims were crushed in India, in those regions, it was the Afghans. They came. Alauddin Khilji, Mahmud Ghaznawi, and Ahmad Shah Abdali, and all these guys, the leaders, would come and they would protect and they would give peace and security there. So what are we talking about? So look, I want to say something finally, and this is something I want to mention from my point of view, and then I'll close off. I'll take some questions. I've yet to answer one question that I have. So basically, as you know, when the British were overpowered by the Afghans, after that, this is what Iqbal, one of the famous poets, wrote, and I'll translate it. He said, Afghaniyon ki ghairat deen ka hai ye इलाज मुल्ला को उनकी कोहे दमन से निकाल दो वो फाका कश मौत से डरता नहीं जरा रूह है मोहम्मद इसके बदन से निकाल दो. And that's what he said. So basically what he's saying, that the real ghira, the honor of the Afghans, is in this religion. And that's what the real cure for everything. And he said, if you take the mullah, meaning the people who are propagating Tawheed and following the religion from the valleys of this region, then basically these are the people that are doing, they are on, they're living in hunger, and they're not scared of anyone. And they are the people who are carrying the soul of the Prophet in their own bodies. And if you take it out, then that's the only way you can conquer this land. And subhanAllah, you look after 20 years without any tanks, without any fighter planes, without anything. Whatever happened, as I said, I'm not endorsing anyone, but whatever happened, I mean, I think what Iqbal said there really has a very profound effect. So finally, I want to say, you know, when you look at the agenda, the agenda of the West, whenever it comes to any country, no matter wherever, you know, you see Bangladesh as well, you see Pakistan as well, you see Turkey as well. I was actually speaking to someone in Turkey. They said the fastest growing religion in Turkey at the moment is atheism. And people are leaving religion, and they are scared for who's going to come after Erdogan. Why? Because they have vested the entire totalitarian power in the hands of the president. So if Erdogan is beaten in the election, they don't have to go to the parliament. If it's a secular president, he can overturn the entire laws in a day. And that's what they fear for. And again, I'm not endorsing Erdogan as well. I'm very critical about them as well. Don't get me started. I'll probably do another speech on him as well. So look, the agenda is very simple. And this is according to me, what I believe. The first and the foremost thing, whenever the powers from the West, they come to the Muslim land, this is what they come with. They come with, they put a dictator in place. Either they put political parties in place, or they put a king in place. Why? To eradicate or to get rid of Islamic ideology and also the Islamic thought. And that's what happens. When you look at all these countries, you don't have to go far away. You look at the current happening in Saudi Arabia. You've got this great leader, so-called great leader, MBS, or you could call it MBBS. There's another name I have for him. I don't want to say it because I'm yearning to go to Saudi Arabia. And so you know what I mean. And then you know what they do? They do censoring. And that's what I have been speaking about, the fear mongering. You know, oh, this is going to happen when these guys are going to come in. They're going to kill, they're going to take your wives, they're going to put your women in veil, and Sharia is coming, and this big thing is coming, and they will take you down, and blah, blah, blah. And also, the third thing, if they see that no political party is working, no censorship is working, they use the same line. We'll bomb you back. We'll bomb you back to the Stone Age. And this is what they said to Pakistan in 2002. And also, the fourth thing they do is the civil unrest. So they put army against the civilians. And that's what you saw in Syria. That's what you saw in other places in the Muslim lands. And then they come with, sectarian violence. You know, what you saw in Raymond Davis. If you guys know the case, that's what they did. And so they come with the sectarian violence. They come with the Shias. They come with the Sunnis. And they say, you know what, they're after. Or they come with this, they come with that. And they get the layman like me and you, were fighting for the things which are not even important. And then they come with the liberalism, and subhanallah, this liberalism is a great window there. And these are your answers, Zuhaib. You asked about Islamic nations help out of these circumstances. I mean, the opinions, and these are the things. They're not able to do anything. They come with these secular agendas, like, you know, the liberalism. They come with the feminism. They come with the deism. They come with LGBTism. And you name it. There are so many isms and schisms and schisms. So really, I don't even want to go into that. And then they come with the secular laws. The bills are passed, or anti-veiling. You know, you want to know about secular law in Pakistan, which is against the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not endorsing a second wife or a third wife or a fourth wife. Do you know that in Pakistan, if you marry a second wife without informing your first, you could actually end up in jail. This was thanks to Ayub Khan, another dictator that we had. Again, I mean, should I call him a dictator? That's a debate for another time. But yeah, that was a law there. If you marry, that's again the laws of Allah, clear laws of Allah. Allah says, "Muthna wa thalatha wa ruba." Allah says in the Quran, and who is, with all due respect, Mr. Ayub Khan, who are you? Well, we will ask Allah to have mercy on you, but who are you to go against the laws of Allah? And then you did the devaluation of currency, and so they devalue your currency, and you become like a peasant, and you're after IMF, and they come with the IMF, the financial pressures, and you're trapped in the system of interest. Quran clearly says you ask every child, you ask everyone, interest, haram. But you see the people, the nations are dealing with interest. How do you think we're going to come out of this? And then you've got, they jeopardize our curriculum. You look at the Muslim countries, the whole curriculum's been jeopardized. You talk about, you can't speak about this, you can't speak about that, you can't speak about this. Well, what happened with the Muslim law? Islam, if you really look at the Muslim nation at the moment, in Islam, what was happening in Pakistan, what was happening was, they were debating about curriculum, or there's too much Quran for the kids, they're going to be tired, or they don't have anything, they're going to learn this dua, they're going to learn that dua. Oh, you should have looked at that politician. I was yearning to get inside the TV, actually have a one-to-one with him. And then you got people, this is the final point I believe, you put people, the younger generation, on entertainment, mashallah, the culture, or the entertainment, TikTok, you name it. You become a YouTuber, you become that, you become this, and you know what, don't worry about anything, everything will be okay. And another thing I can add to that is culture takes precedence over religion. And that's what's happened to us. Oh, I'm an Afghani, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a Pakistani. What happened to the religion? What happened to the Islam? What happened to that? We were Muslims. So really, a lot can be said. A lot can be said, as I said. But my opinion, really, don't go with the propaganda of the media and whatever they're saying. I want to say, give them a chance. Let's just say we don't know what they're going to do. We're not endorsing anyone. At least we can say proudly for the Afghans, they've at least got their own people to rule over them. Someone who understands them, someone who speaks the language, someone who knows who they are. So let them have this chance, and then we can talk about other things, what happened. So really, that was it from me. And so we are calling out, we're going after the media and the ruthless things and blah blah blah. We don't even know what's in to come. So please, I say this, person who listens to the media a lot is the most misinformed person. I want to give you an example. I'll finish off over here. At the moment, you've got the anti-vaccination groups as well. So they are being shunned so much. They are being blamed for everything that's happening. If you see a guy, you talk to him and he says, you know what, I'm worried about this vaccination and I actually don't want to do it. I want to be careful. And then you get these other people, they jump up and down and they say, oh, you're the one, because of you will get sick and we will. Now you ask everyone, no one's got, what happened to the opinion, my friends? What happened to the opinion? Like, people used to have their opinion. We live in the West. What happened to our freedoms? So if you're not going to get vaccinated, you're going to lose your job. You're not going to go to the park. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. And this is what it is. The fear mongering and lack of, not listening to the other side and creating that confusion, that havoc. And making people sound like they're evil. So there's so many things happening at the moment. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to really help us and to make our life easy and But, I could say a lot. I had some questions about inheritance as well from for brother Shuaib. I actually want to tell you, I'm going to do a special talk for you next Tuesday, and that will be focused. So next Tuesday, inshallah, same place, around same time, we're going to speak about inheritance from A to Z. So inshallah, we're going to have a complete talk on that. So as I said again, I don't want the media to take me and put me on Daily Telegraph. That's the last thing I want to be, on a Rupert Murdoch's newspaper. Rupert Murdoch, if you want to cut my speech from anywhere you want, make sure you put this disclaimer. I'm not endorsing any government, Rupert Murdoch. I haven't even endorsed your own Zionist government as well, to be honest. I don't endorse anyone. I don't even endorse the government of Imran Khan as well, to be honest. I am only speaking my views, and I am enjoying my freedom, the freedom of speech that I have as a human being. And I'm only telling people to be careful, and to be really very careful from Daily Telegraph. Guys, if you take Daily Telegraph out of your life, you're not going to die of a heart attack. And I mean it. If you want to die of a heart attack, I mean really, and you want to be, you probably go to Daily Telegraph and Daily Mail and all these other papers, and the misinformation that you're going to get from there, you're just going to kill yourself. So, I mean, in a nutshell, that was my thing. My question to all the leaders 20 years ago, if you're still alive, I know Tony Blair's alive, I know George W. Bush, you're alive, and all these other guys who are alive. I mean, you said a lot. And my question to you, what do you say now? You killed millions in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and the confusion and the destruction that you created in that Middle East, in that region. What do you have to say now? What are you going to say to God? I mean, you were driving them to the gates of hell. Now, who is going to stop you from those gates of hell? That's my question. You believe in God. You are a devout Christian. Then I want to ask you, what is Jesus going to tell you? You believe in Jesus. So what's Jesus going to say? Jesus is going to ask you, why did you kill these innocent people? Only for the bunch of people that were hiding there, you went and you killed these innocent people, these millions that you displaced. What are you going to say, Mr. Bush? What are you going to say, Obama? Obama, really the guy who painted to be the savior of the entire world. That's my question to you as well. And so, people, we need to be mindful of our situation. We need to be coming out of these sectarian violence. We're Muslims. We respect everyone. We love everyone. We love the Afghans. We love the Australians. We love all the people. And that's what humanity teaches. Our Prophet said, "Innama bu'ithu liutimima makarim al-akhlaq." I was only sent to people so I could perfect their manners. And that's what we're here. We're here to guide the humanity. So I really want to close off on that. And I want to thank you, everyone, for being on the channel and listening to me. And inshallah, Allah allows us to open our eyes and to look at people with not a lens where we are differentiating people on nationalities. We should be differentiating people on their nature, on the way how they go about, and really on the way how they deal with others. We should spread the message of love, and that message of love is for everyone. I ask Allah to help me and to help everyone. وجزاكم الله خيرا. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفر الله إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. If anyone's got a question, happy to take one quick question or two. If not, we'll call it off, inshallah. No one's got a question. I'm still waiting. So if you guys have a question, you can post it now. All right, seems like no one's got a question, so we'll call it off, inshallah.